Well, to conclude on my last video on the BM, well, I guess I better pull this apart, because when an ECU does that, it's generally not a good thing. You can see the high water mark on it. It oxidised pretty quick. Yes, Bosch Motronic. They're a nice engine, they're a nice system, but yeah, I'd had a look. I found the drain. It wasn't where I thought it was. There was a bit of crud sitting on top of something, but the drain's only about 1/4 of an inch in diameter, which is way too small. So it's no wonder a bit of crap got washed down there and it blocked it up. And I guess that's a word of warning for anyone who owns one of these cars and parks it under a lot of trees and things. Make sure that drain's clear, even improve on it. I'm going to have a look at it later and it'll be in the video, just checking it and trying to improve on it. Otherwise you end up with water in your ECU. Everything else is a sealed can, like sheet metal pressing, but the only way water can get in is if it gets up to this level. But this one here isn't. It's got an aluminium backing plate, and you can see there it's all there's no gasket, it's just gotten straight in. Little PCB standoffs there. I think I'm going to have to uncrimp that can. The whole thing's a factory sealed unit, but we'll try and fix it. If not, I'll have to find another one. That's the part number. Well, I think I might be in trouble with this. I'm guessing this unit has 12 volts to it all the time in some way or another, because it seems to have undergone electrolysis. It's eaten into the case, and you can see the pins of the IC down there are all screwed. There's a ROM chip that's snapped into it, which is the engine programming ROM. I'll clean it up and see how it goes, but yeah, that looks pretty terminal, the way the traces have been eaten. Well, it hasn't eaten it, but it looks like there's a spot there where it might have. Yes. Okay. It's got surface mount shit on the back of it too. Oh well, I'll get this board off and try and clean it up as best I can. But that's pretty terminal. Okay, I gave it a bit of a clean with the garden hose. Just high pressure, just stick my thumb over the end of the hose basically. You don't want too much pressure. And all the oxide and crap came off immediately, so it's definitely very minor oxidation. No traces appear to be damaged or anything. Yeah. It only sat there for a few hours, probably with a very trace amount of DC going through it. No real amperage to do any damage. The only thing is what's happened inside the IC is the sensitive bits, particularly the ROM chip. I mean, I can get those. My dad's currently working for some guys who do the chipping and hotting up of cars, turbocharging, all that sort of stuff, so I'll talk to him if there's a problem. It wouldn't hurt to get a good ROM chip anyway. Even if I have to buy a new ECU, I can get a performance ROM chip for it. Probably very, very cheap. So yeah, all I can do is just bake it. I'm going to stick it in, say, 60 degrees. Just leave it there for a while. Leave it there all afternoon. Yeah, dry it out and give it a go. Let's pop it back together again. Alright, let's see if I'm in good luck or trouble. I've got it grounded, all set up nicely. No idiot lights. I know I've got a brake light out, so alright. Even check control hasn't gone off. That's better. Firing. It's going to be flooded to buggery because of those injectors though. Not that happy. No, it's just fouled the plugs. Typical. It wants to run on a few cylinders, but yeah. I think plugs are fouled. If not, then the ECU's fried. which is probably a good guess too, but at least it's showing more signs of life than it did before. Oh well, I'll pull the plugs out and check them, clean them. Exhaust's just nothing but fuel, so it's going to be interesting. Well, I figured I'd pull the other units out just to check them, and although it looks like a sealed can, well, they've shafted me by drilling holes in the bottom of it. So, naturally, it's full of water too. I don't know what that is. I'm going to look the part number up. I've got a feeling it might be cruise control or something like that. It'd probably explain why the cruise control was acting weird. Cruise control shouldn't go through the Motronic system. This one here, not sure. Might be ignition control. Because one will be fuel injection, one will be ignition, or vice versa. It's got a vent on the bottom, but it's a proper vent valve. So it'll vent in case of internal pressure, but it won't allow air to come back in if it gets, well, when it cools down. So I can't hear anything sloshing around inside, so it should be pretty good. I don't know whether I want to crack it open or not, but then it's only 2 screws. Now screw it, I'll crack it open and have a look. This one here, I definitely got to peel it open and dry it out. Well, according to the Fountain of Information, also known as Google, this is the cruise control module. But the funny thing is, it's all potted in epoxy, so, or at least coated, so it doesn't explain why it's going runaway. Well, it wasn't going runaway, it's just I heard a whirring sound at or near, at least near the cruise control module. It might not have been it doing it, but it was certainly a whirring sound coming from that vicinity. Yeah. No signs of electrolysis or anything. I'm just going to dry it out, put it back together again. Should be fine. I never use cruise control anyway, so if anything, I'll just disconnect the cable. Yeah, this one's got the right idea. One-way vent. Nothing wrong with that one. That's the ignition computer. The other one that I did first was the Motronic EFI. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is ignition trigger or something like that. There's not much else it could be really. It's resistors and what look like switching transistors there, so I'd say that's ignition. You can make out a number on it, 33039 on those big transistors. The Siemens ICs, SM2091. The Bosch logo on that little IC. Yeah, nice solid state capacitors. Most of the caps and things in these things are pretty much mil spec. They're really tough stuff. So, yeah. I'll put this one back together again and I'll pull the spark plugs out and clean, or try and clear the flood. I'll work out what the fuel pump relay is, pull that one out, turn it over a bit to clear the flood, and then pop the relay back in and hopefully she'll fire up. Well, I'm not about to drag it out onto the street and set fire to it just yet, but that Motronic ECU is definitely fried. I've done a full reboot. The immobiliser made things rather difficult because I don't use the damn thing. It took me a while to find the bloody remote to reset it. And again, it's only running on a couple of cylinders, just put put put. Absolutely no response to throttle at all. Yeah, stinks like fuel, but the plugs were nice and clean. The plugs were very good. The only thing I can think is either it's also fried the ignition computer, or it's just purely the EFI is just that messed up that it's just not working anymore. Probably giving too much fuel on some cylinders or not enough. So I'm going to drag it out onto the street and let it rot for a while. I'll clean the Jag up and use that for the time being. I've got to clean the bowls and carbies on that again because it just starts flooding at startup or sitting for too long, and then you get going and it'll start leaning out. So I've got to clean that up and start using it full time.